We tend to think of time as a straight line, right? Past, present, future. But what if it wasn't a line at all? What if it was a circle? Today, we're going to decode one of the most incredible systems ever created for understanding time and nature, a core part of traditional Chinese wisdom that sees the universe as this beautiful, repeating pattern. Just imagine for a second, a code, but not made of numbers, a code made from nature itself, a system that doesn't just, count the minutes and years, but actually describes the feel of that time. Is it a time for new beginnings, a season for powerful growth, or maybe a time for rest and reflection? This is that ancient rhythm, and we're about to crack the code. And at the very heart of it all are these beautiful, intricate characters. They make up a system called Tian-Gan Di-Zhi. For thousands of years, this has been the key to charting the cycles of the heavens and the earth, showing how everything is connected. So how are we going to tackle this? Simple. We'll break it down into 6 parts. First, we'll get to know the 2 main building blocks, the stems and the branches. Then, we'll see how they snap together to create this amazing master cycle. And finally, we'll uncover how that cycle was used to measure, well, pretty much everything. All right, section 1. So what does Tian-Gan Di-Zhi really mean? Well, it translates to the heavenly stems and the earthly branches. Just think of them as the 2 fundamental pieces, kind of like the DNA for this entire system of time. Let's start with part 1 of the code, the 10 heavenly stems. Now, this isn't just some random list of 10 things. No, it's a story. It actually represents a 10-phase cycle that perfectly mirrors the life of a plant, from a tiny seed all the way to its decay and then right back to the beginning. And here they are. What's so amazing about this is how poetic it is. We start with Jia, that's the sprouting seed just breaking through the dirt. Then we have Yi, the delicate little sapling reaching up for the sun. Bing is like the blazing peak of summer, just pouring down energy. As we move through the cycle, we get to Gang, which is the autumn harvest, and Sin, the ripened fruit, the result of all that work. And the cycle finishes with Ren and Gui, where the seed is back in the earth, just gestating, storing all that potential, getting ready to start all over again. It's a whole story of creation in just 10 characters. Incredible. Okay, next up are the 12 earthly branches. That number, 12, probably sounds pretty familiar, right? I mean, think about it. 12 months in a year, or maybe the 12 animals of the Chinese zodiac. Well, guess what? They are directly tied to this ancient way of dividing up time. And just like the stems, each branch tells a little piece of nature's story. It all starts with Si, which is like the budding seed in the dead of winter. Then Yin comes along, and life starts breaking through the ground in early spring. By the time we hit Mao, everything is flourishing. Wu represents that peak summer energy, just abundant and full of life. Then the cycle starts to wind down through autumn with Yu, the withering and collecting, until we get to Hai, the final core, the very essence of the plant, preserved and ready to start the cycle again. These 12 phases literally map out the energy of the entire year. So we have these 2 separate cycles, right? A heavenly cycle of 10 and an earthly cycle of 12. But the real genius, the absolute magic of this system, is what happens when you put them together. This is where the math really starts to sing. I want you to picture 2 gears interlocking. One gear is a little smaller, it's got 10 teeth, those are our heavenly stems. The other gear is a bit bigger, with 12 teeth, our earthly branches. Now, as they turn together, they create a whole series of unique pairs. So the big question is, how many different combinations can they make before the whole pattern starts over? The answer is 60. It's actually just the least common multiple of 10 and 12. It takes exactly 60 turns for both of those gears to click right back into their starting positions at the exact same time. And this 60-part sequence? It's called the Jiazi cycle. It's named after its very first pair, the stem Jia and the branch Zi. Each one of these 60 pairs has its own unique name, its own special energy. It creates this master cycle that you can use to label absolutely everything, not just years, but months, days, and even 2-hour blocks of time. And that, right there, is the real power of this idea. This wasn't just a system for keeping track of the years. It's almost like a fractal. You can zoom in and out, and it organizes every single unit of time, from the huge sweep of history down to the passing moments of a single day. So if you zoom out, the 12 earthly branches line up perfectly with the 12 months of the lunar calendar. This meant that every single month had its own distinct personality, its own energy, all defined by its place in this big cosmic dance. But it also works as a clock. The day was broken up into 12 two-hour periods called shiqin, and each shiqin wasn't just a number, it had a name connected to the real world. So, for example, the period from 5 to 7 a.m. wasn't just 5 o'clock, it was called rooster crowing time. It's a much more natural way to mark the start of the day, isn't it? So when you put it all together, you start to realize that the heavenly stems and earthly branches are so much more than an old calendar. They're a complete way of looking at the world, a philosophical lens for seeing the entire universe as one giant, interconnected system of natural, repeating patterns. It's really a system for everything. It's an elegant calendar, it's a precise clock, and it's a profound philosophy all wrapped up in one. It's a way to sync up human life with the rhythms of nature, connecting the smallest little sprout to the grand turning of the seasons. And I think ultimately, this ancient code gives us a really powerful insight. It reminds us that time isn't just a number ticking away on a screen. It's a living, breathing, repeating cycle of nature, and we're all a part of it. And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. In our world, which is so obsessed with just moving forward, pushing ahead, what might change if we saw our lives and our time not as a straight line, but as a beautiful, repeating circle? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining me.